we had to shut the ad campaign off. Why? Because we spent $10,000 on an ad campaign and we got one sale. One. And I remember this was so deflating. And it was deflating because we spent a lot of money that I was in charge of managing. And now I had to come to you and say, hey, guess what? So we lost $9,000. I was doomed to fail before I even began. Why? How can you actually use Facebook ads or any online advertising to actually make money in your business? Is that ever a question that you've asked before? And maybe you're wondering, like, how not only can I use advertising to make money, but like, when is the right time to use advertising to make money? So you've probably heard a lot of people talk about Facebook advertising, Google advertising, YouTube advertising, etc. We're very blessed to have experience in all of the categories. And what we could tell you is this: you're going to have a 5-step checklist to allow you to make your advertising campaigns profitable.
How that affects the couplepreneur relationship is what happens when you are the person in the relationship that is in charge of the advertising or in charge of the marketing, and the business or the advertising isn't working like you hoped. What happens? Usually, if that's your area in the business that you own, there can be a little bit of distrust that may develop between you as couplepreneurs, right? When maybe you're the one spending the money on the advertising and it's not coming back. Or maybe when you're the one that's in charge of marketing the business and you're not getting the clients like you thought that you would and like your partner thought that you would. So now there starts to be a little bit of questioning around the financial decisions, questioning around the marketing decisions, the business decisions, and some distrust can actually start to develop between the two of you as a couple, right?
100%. We've seen this happen time and time again for a lot of the entrepreneur couples that we have the privilege of coaching. Where a lot of people come to us because of our marketing background, just over a decade of marketing experience. But usually somebody has tried Facebook advertising or Google advertising or YouTube advertising in the past, and it just hasn't worked and they lost a lot of money. And what we want to do is we want to make sure that we walk you guys through a very proven process to ensure you don't lose money. Because like Ariel said, it doesn't just affect the bottom line of profitability of your business. It could absolutely show up in your relationship and it can actually create distrust, even if it's not your fault. So if you're watching this and you haven't got the results that you've wanted from running ads in the past, most likely it's not your fault. Most likely you are listening to what other people are telling you. And what I hate to say as the bearer of bad news is that a lot of the things that a lot of the marketing gurus teach nowadays about ads, I'm not saying they're not true, but I will say they're only giving you one side of the story. How many of you were around for those days where the greatest internet marketing fad was to create a webinar and then run ads to that webinar, and then on that webinar sell $997 course? When I first heard that, I was like, this is a dream. You mean I can create an online course, I can throw up an ad on Facebook that leads people to, and not just a webinar, but an automated webinar that sells a $997 course. And I can make money doing that. And I could just rinse and repeat, and I don't have to touch a thing. And I could just make like passive income as I keep selling. Like, that sounds amazing. If you have been in that place before, let me tell you, I've been in your shoes, because years ago, what I did was exactly that. I created a webinar. I spent months creating a webinar. Then what I did is I started like putting an advertising campaign in place to sell a $997 course. I started running ads on Facebook, and I was doing everything that the majority of the marketing trainings out there at the time were telling me to do. So we tested the ads, we ran the ads, we started spending money. And because I was just so certain that ads were going to work, we ended up testing with about $10,000 worth of ad spend. Now, I have to admit something. It did not work at all. And when I say not at all, I'm saying 1 week went by and we spent like $2,000. I was like, no, let's keep it going. We're still in the testing phase. Let's keep spending more. Another week went by. We got up to like 5,000 in ad spend. And I'm like, okay, we're getting a bunch of leads. We're getting a bunch of people on the webinar, but not everyone's buying, but that's okay. We're still testing out the audiences. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Week 3 came, then week 4 came. And then eventually we had to shut the ad campaign off. Why? Because we spent $10,000 on an ad campaign and we got one sale. One. And I remember this was so deflating. And it was deflating because we spent a lot of money that I was in charge of managing. And now I had to come to you and say, hey, guess what? So we lost 9,000. And that was a pretty debilitating blow. And I don't know if any of you guys have ever been in that position where you tried to spend money on ads, but you didn't make money. But it's kind of like a defeating feeling. That's how I felt. And I remember telling one of my buddies who just so happens to be a super advanced marketer, like one of the top guys, like one of those like OGs, we call them, like the guys that were behind the scenes for like the original internet marketing launches. I just so happened to be friends with him. And I remember texting him and telling him about my failure. I'm like, dude, we just lost so much money on ads. What did I do wrong? And I started explaining to him our strategy and how we approached it. And he told me something I'll never forget. He's like, well, dude, yeah, the way you set it up, like you were bound to lose. I'm like, what do you mean I was bound to lose? He's like, oh yeah, like you're running ads to a $997 automated webinar. Like you'll lose your shirt on that. I'm like, I'll lose my shirt. What are you talking? What do you do? This is what everybody tells me to do. What are you talking about? And he sat there and began to explain things about marketing that a lot of the books, the podcasts, the YouTube videos, the seminars, they don't tell you. Right. Everybody at the marketing seminars are going to tell you, just put up an offer, run ads, and you make money. But there's like a whole other half to this equation, which is all based on the unit economics and the other aspects that must be in place in order for your ads to actually be profitable. So he started explaining this to me and I started studying this stuff like crazy. And what ended up happening is as I was studying this stuff, like what actually makes it work, I got the opportunity to consult with another client who just so happened to bring me in to consult about sales funnels. But what ended up happening is they also wanted me to take a look at the ad campaigns. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I'm a funnel guy. Like I built sales funnels, email marketing campaigns, strategize VSLs, webinars, et cetera. That was more my specialty. But this company wanted me to look at their advertising campaign and see if we could make it more profitable. So this was my chance. This was my chance to take all of the lessons that I was learning, the other half, the shadow side of the equation that no other marketer teaches, and actually apply it. And here's what happened. Would you guys believe that with the company I was consulting with, their advertising campaigns were not only able to become more profitable for that specific company, we were able to profitably scale the ad spend to over $300,000 a month. And for every customer they got, it was worth $6 for every $1 they put into advertising. That's what we were doing with this company. And it was based on applying a lot of the secrets that most people don't teach. In addition to that, this not only works at a high level, I remember working with you on it. Like Ariel had her own business at the time. And I was sharing like, hey, maybe you can run an advertising campaign to start getting some clients. And that's actually what led to a lot of your clients in the very beginning, right?
Absolutely.
So we did this again and again. And then since then, once I got really good at this, I ended up consulting other companies on this exact thing, which is like, how do we make our advertising profitable? What we've created for you guys today is a 5-step checklist that takes all of these really hard lessons learned and creates a series of questions to ask yourself in order to boost the chances for your ads to be profitable. You want to do the curtain thing?
Yes, give me my curtain.
All right. So this 5-step checklist is a series of questions. Question number 1 to ask yourself is,
do you have a proven offer? Do you have a proven offer? So what tends to happen most of the time is a lot of people look at running ads as kind of like a quick flip of a switch, right? They just like turn on some ads, they get some, cash in the bank, right? What tends to happen is a lot of people haven't really proven the offer and more specifically made sure that the market to message match is there. They haven't made sure that the offer is something that people actually want. The language that they use to describe the offer, the way in which they describe the audience's problems and desires in that offer, they haven't actually tested it and proven it over and over and over again. And what we would consider a proven offer is something that's actually been tested typically organically, meaning you didn't have to pay to get a customer. You can do it through organic methods like posting, referrals, things like that, and sell that offer multiple times to make sure that the messaging that you're using around that offer is actually attractive to your ideal client and to the people that you're trying to attract. Because what happens is if you put up advertising to promote this offer and you have not proven it yet, what ends up happening is you'll spend a lot of money and probably not get anything in return.
Yep.
And or you will then find yourself going like, what did I do wrong? Do I need to pivot? Is it the offer? And then you'll change the offer and you'll go a different direction.
Yep. 100%.
Versus just recognizing that sometimes you just have to prove the messaging around the offer and make sure the offer is something people actually want.
Yeah.
Right.
That was mistake number one I made when I lost $9,000 in advertising when I didn't understand this. This is one of the things that many of the gurus and the experts in the space don't share. If you don't prove your offer organically first, meaning using either social media or referrals or some other way of getting somebody to pay you something for what it is you sell.
Multiple times,
at least 5 times. Then what happens is that when you are going to run ads, you are 100% guessing on who your target is. And even more importantly, what messaging your target is actually going to resonate with.
Yes.
We see this all the time. Even if you're watching this and you're like, I know exactly who my ideal target market is, that is fantastic. But here's a question. Is the messaging, meaning the words that you say in your ads, do the words in the ads actually resonate and describe their operating reality in the way that they would describe it? Yeah. If the answer is no, then what we haven't done yet is enough testing organically first to ensure that by the time you spend a single dollar on ads, you know exactly what message resonates with your ideal market.
That's right. Now, you could test using ads, meaning just put out a bunch of ads and see what kind of data and information comes back and find out what your winners are, which you should do regardless. But if you do that without testing organically first, you're going to waste a lot of money doing that. Yeah. So you just want to be comfortable being okay with spending a lot of money to get that data back. Versus what we would suggest is selling your offer organically first, multiple times, and then take that messaging that worked and put it into advertising. So you're amplifying what works versus amplifying what's not working.
So the very first step is to ask yourself the question, do I have a proven offer yet? If the answer is no, congratulations. The way to make your ads profitable is to not run them at all.
Yet.
That's what, yet. Now, here's the beauty. When you know how to effectively use social media and organic marketing to prove your offer, meaning getting customers to pay you money, you do that 5 times at least, you should have a pretty good idea to go into Facebook ads with a much better set of ammunition, if you will, in order to actually get and acquire the right customer from your ads. So that's step number 1 of the 5-step checklist. What is step number 2?
So step number 2 within this 5-step checklist is
to ask yourself, does your price point allow your ads to be profitable? Mistake number 2 that I personally made when I was running ads to an automated webinar funnel that sold a product for $997. I was doomed to fail before I even began. Why? Why is that the case? That's the case because if you look at the way that Facebook ads will bid for impressions, clicks, leads, etc., if you look at the way that it is designed, just based on the amount of target reach that you have to have, especially if you're in a niche like ours or the business niche, then what ends up happening is that even the most tuned, optimized advertising campaign that you could possibly have will acquire a $997 course buyer at an $800 to a $1,500 cost per acquisition. So let me make sure we drill this home though. Let's say, just for the sake of math, everybody, you have a $997 offer that you were selling using Facebook ads and on an automated webinar style.
You look so cute.
Thank you. Hey, you too.
When you looked over the board, I liked it.
Across the board, across a variety of different industries, the industries that are able to optimize the heck out of an automated webinar funnel. And I've worked with these companies that have spent anywhere from like $25,000 to $30,000 to $40,000 a day on automated webinars and have been profitable for them. Even at the very highest level with the best of the best marketing behind it, they will acquire a customer on an automated webinar at a cost of between $800 to $1,500 cost to acquire a customer. So another math equation. Let's just do, for the sake of math today, If you are selling a $1,000 offer, but it costs you $1,500 to acquire that $1,000 customer, how much money have you made? That's why when you see automated webinar funnels today that are profitable, one of two things are true. Either number one, the automated webinar campaign sells a product at $2,000, not $99.97. So that way there's at least a 25% margin, as was the case for one of my clients who was doing $2 million a month plus. So that's one. The other thing is, if you do see automated webinars that are selling a $997 offer, the only way they're able to make that profitable is they have an offer on the back end. What I mean by back end is once you buy their $997 thing, then they have something that they sell on the back end, whether it's a high-end coaching, back end meaning like once you're a buyer, they'll email you, they'll promote you, they'll get on a sales call, they'll upsell you into another offer. That is the only way that that is profitable.
Yep.
Now, is this stuff sexy? No. This is like the unit economics dark shadow side of all of the marketing stuff, but this is the reality of it. These are the unit economics that make advertising campaigns work. So the question is your offer priced at a point that will allow you to be successful? Maybe you have an e-com product, maybe you have a coaching product, maybe you have an offer that's more done with you or done for you.
Yeah.
For each one of those types of offers, there's a different campaign that will allow you to be profitable in terms of advertising.
Yeah.
But the question is that you have to ask yourself, is my offer priced at a point where I can profit from ads?
Yeah.
If the answer is no, then we would recommend don't run ads until you have the answer to that question being yes.
Yeah.
One example I'm going to give you guys, and hopefully this resonates. One of our clients, amazing couple that is in the real estate space. They have put together an amazing coaching program that we help them launch from scratch, and they're doing a phenomenal job getting people just great results. Yeah. They had an idea of potentially, doing a free book offer into a lower, kind of like a lower tier, $297 course. Yeah. And, they wanted to run some ads to it. And this is something that's also taught a lot, especially in the online information marketing world. And when we kind of explained the same concept to them, it was like, I could totally see like they totally got it. They totally understood right away that was not the most profitable option at this point. So a more profitable option for them was to, create a conversion event, like a 5-day challenge or a 5-day event or whatever, and use advertising to sell that, which gives them a higher ticket offer. Yeah. So that way, if they do spend, let's say $10,000 in ads, they can realistically project, $20,000 or $30,000 in profit.
Yeah.
So this is just an example. I know I'm throwing a lot of numbers out there, but at the end of the day, to make this simple, and please tell me if there's anything you would add. If your price point is not priced at the right amount, or if you don't have a system on the back end to upsell your customers to a higher price offer, then advertising is not where you should be at this moment.
Now, one thing I do want to get, and I'm going to ask you this question.
Yep.
If you don't have a high ticket offer, like let's say you have more of an e-com product, that's a lower ticket thing. Would you agree that you just need to know what is the typical cost to acquire a customer like that in order to know if it would be profitable? Yes. Okay.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So if you have an e-com product that you're selling for like $40 or $100, like obviously the strategy is different for you.
Yes.
You can absolutely acquire a customer for like, $10, $20.
You can.
It's
possible.
But it's very important for you to understand that those unit economics before you go into it. So that way, you start off with the chances of success versus what many people do, which is they start off without calculating this cost. And so many people, it pains us. So many people are running ads that will never be profitable no matter how great they are.
Yeah.
And that's what's really motivating us to share this with you. So that's question number 2. So now that we've asked ourselves those 2 questions, which admittedly may not be the most fun questions, now we get to have some fun. Yeah. Now we get to have some fun. If you pass those 2 questions and the answer is yes to both of them, you get to run some ads and we get to have some fun. It's just important for us to ask question number 3, which is,
do you have a testing mindset? Mm-hmm. Do you have a testing mindset? Because if you are in a space right now where ads have to work, meaning you have to make them work. If you don't, you're going to lose your shirt. It's whatever. And you've never actually run ads and you don't, know all the things that we're talking about here. What can actually happen is you just lose money and you retreat from ads forever. right? Versus going into advertising with a testing mindset, such as going in knowing that, of course, you can be prepared with your numbers. You can be prepared knowing you have a proven offer. That's going to help. But you also want to look at it as you're simply testing, and you're going to get data back from the market in order to inform your future marketing decisions.
Absolutely.
Right? So if you go into advertising with the mindset of, I'm just testing and I'm essentially buying data that's going to allow my marketing to be amazing in the future and give me higher ROIs in the future, then you're pretty good to go. So instead of going into advertising with the mindset of like, this needs to work right now, view it as, I'm buying data and this will work down the road.
Absolutely. So this is where advertising becomes great.
Yes.
Because no longer are you spending your time to collect marketing data. When you have advertising and you've set it up the right way, like you could spend $500 today and figure out more about your market, what they resonate with, what they don't, like deeper data on like how they actually interact with different images and different styles of landing pages.
What targeting works best.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you can find that out so fast versus if you were to figure that out on your own, even though that's required in the beginning stages, it could take you a long time. So as long as you have a testing mindset where you are approaching the advertising campaign as, you know what, whether this works now or this works a month from now, if we're doing the right things, we can have a realistic faith that it will work because we're going to take all of the data we're getting and we're going to make adjustments accordingly.
Yep.
And by the way, guys, that's all marketing really is.
Yeah.
All marketing really is, I can say this after a decade of doing marketing and helping a lot of companies grow and scale businesses. Marketing is getting information, getting data, and making sure that you're assimilating the right cause to the right effect, which is like a huge misnomer in the marketing world. Yeah. But if you can identify the most accurate input that is giving you the output that you're receiving, all you have to do is just adjust the inputs to get a more favorable output from your marketing. Yeah. If you've made it to this point and you got through all three of those steps, the next two steps are really going to take you from running an ad and maybe making some money to running an ad and being pretty dang confident that you are going to massively get an ROI from your ads. Okay?
Yes.
You want to do it? Fourth question to ask yourself is,
are you optimizing your ads for the right metrics? For the right metrics.
The right metrics. Metrics are essentially the pieces of data that you are utilizing to determine, is your advertising campaign profitable or good or not?
Yeah.
Now, some fancy marketing lingo I'm going to throw out to you guys. Most advertising agencies and most people who run Facebook ads, period, they set up their campaigns to optimize for a metric called CPL. CPL stands for cost per lead. Cost per lead, as you guys know, means if I spent $1,000 on Facebook ads and I got 1,000 leads, that means that my cost per lead was $1. Now, for many people, they would think it makes sense to optimize your campaigns, meaning spend more money towards the specific ad sets within the Facebook ad campaign that are producing the lowest cost per lead. And that's what the majority, and I mean like 95% of most agencies will do. And for all intents and purposes, like it's not a bad place to start, but there's something that works even better. And that is something that is called CPQL. Yep. What CPQL stands for is cost per qualified lead. What do I mean by that? How many of you guys have ever generated leads from some way, somehow, and you got a bunch of leads, but you're like, man, even though I have a ton of leads, these people really aren't ready to buy from me yet. Yeah. They're not the ideal type of person I would like to work with. Maybe they're not even in the right industry for what it is that you do. What those are unqualified leads. What we want to have is not just advertising that generates leads, but advertising that generates qualified leads, meaning people who are ideal for what it is that you sell.
Yeah.
They fit the right industry, they fit the right market, they fit the right mentality, they fit the right, revenue amount or income level. Those are qualified leads. So what we need to do is when we're running advertising, something that we learned very early on is that you cannot just make your advertising budgeting decisions around cost per lead. you must make your advertising decisions around cost per qualified lead.
Yeah.
Perfect example of this is as follows.
Yeah.
When we were launching Couplepreneurs, we were running ads for it. In the very beginning, the agency that we were working with was shocked by the way that we suggested her to optimize our ads for this group.
Yeah.
Why is that the case? So what was happening is with this agency, we had an Instagram ad that was generating like a ton of leads for us, but they were all, and they were like $5 cost per lead, which is actually pretty dang good in our industry. And then we had another ad on Facebook that was generating leads at $30 cost per lead. And I remember this, I'll never forget. It was like Christmas Eve in Ohio. It was super cold. We're sitting at the table doing what we probably shouldn't do, which was like checking our marketing stats at the time. But we were checking.
It was exciting. We were
super excited. Yeah, this was like winter of 2021. And we told our ad agency at that time, hey, we would actually like you to turn off the Instagram ads that are producing the $5 cost per lead. And we want you to spend more money on the ads that are producing a $30 cost per lead. And she was super smart. So like, she gets it. And I do think though, there was a little bit of a hesitation of like, guys, are you sure you want us to do this? Our other ad is crushing it. We're like, we know something about these $30 leads. These $30 leads are our people.
Yeah.
So we optimize the ads for that. And would you believe it? We were actually able to produce a significant ROI from that ad spend just by focusing not on CPL, but CPQL.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure you're optimizing for the right metrics. And I can go on and on about this because I can kind of geek out about this like marketing metric stuff. Another metric to look at is CPA. CPA stands for cost per acquisition, which means that when you're using Facebook ads to actually acquire a customer, that now becomes the even greater marketing metric than CPQL. Because now what you could do if you set up your advertising campaign the right way is that you could tie the customer data back to the advertising campaign that produced the customer. So what you could do if you set this up correctly is you can have ads that work really, really well to produce, let's say 90% of your customers, and you will have that data fed back into the Facebook Ads Manager for you to know, okay, out of all the ads that we're spending, let's put the majority of our budget towards the ads that are producing the most customers for us at the lowest cost per acquisition, or CPA.
Yes.
All right. Fifth question to ask yourself. Fifth and final one is, this was pretty simple.
Yeah. Are you working with a good agency? I'll let you take this.
Yeah. This is pretty dang simple. Pretty self-explanatory. At some point, let's assume that you have a profitable price point, you have a proven offer, you are optimizing for the right metrics, and you have a testing mindset. At that point, it might be a good decision to find a marketing agency to run your ads for you. Now, the reason why I say that is because you can have a decent amount of success running Facebook ads or Instagram ads or Google ads or YouTube ads on your own. It just quickly becomes a full-time job for you.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why Ariel and I do not run our own ads, even though we know how to manage other people who do run our ads, or we know how to manage whole teams of people who run ads. We understand the stuff we're talking about. And if you understand the stuff we're talking about, you can hire an agency to do the work for you. And you can know if the agency is doing a good job or not, because these things are all in place.
Yes.
So a great agency is going to understand everything I just talked about today. They're going to understand how to actually, promote the ad using languaging that should be helpful, how to set up the targeting, how to test different creatives, how to make sure that you're optimizing for CPQL or CPA. They're going to help you with that. If you are at the stage where you want to potentially work with an agency, just reach out to me. I'd be happy to, send a couple suggestions your way. If you guys feel like you cross that checklist and you're ready for ads. But let me just tell you straight up, if you reach out to me and you're like, hey, do you have any recommendations for agencies? If you don't have a proven offer and your price point isn't correct yet, and you don't have a testing mindset, I'm not going to suggest anyone to you, because you have to do those things first in order to work with an agency. But here's the beauty. Once you work with an agency, like, they can run your ads for you and you could just do your thing. Nowadays we're very blessed to work with an agency that, we're small fish compared to all their clients that they work with. It was just a beautiful relationship that I was able have with the CEO, divine timing, all that kind of stuff. But we feel so confident because we can run ads knowing that we were going to have a 3 to 4 to 5x ROI pretty much on most of the things that we do. And even if it doesn't work, we'll be able to know how to test and tweak it and fix it the next time. So that is what a good agency could do for you guys. So make sure you find a good agency to run this stuff for you. So that way you can keep making money and no longer use your time to make money, but make your money make you more money.
Yep.
Makes sense. I don't know if people like this or not, but if you guys want us to dig more into stuff like this, like the marketing, the kind of more like the advanced side of advertising, we're happy to do it because I know for a fact, like we've been talking, man, this is a struggle point for a lot of people. And we don't want this to be a struggle point for you. We don't want you to go down the route of running a lot of money in ads, spending a lot of money, losing a lot of money, and then having to explain to your significant other why it didn't work.
Yes.
Now maybe you discover it's not your fault. You just maybe didn't know these things. Yeah. But if you know these things and you have the proper guidance and the proper mentorship in your corner to help you navigate this, then things can be more profitable.